Let's talk about more setups that were built in the Naruto story and never paid off in the end. Starting off in chapter 1, one of the basic premises of the series, Naruto's dream of becoming the Hokage was never paid off. Well, hear me out for a second. Yes, of course Naruto became the Hokage in the Naruto Manga, but he never became the Hokage in the Naruto Anime. And I know 95% of people only watch the anime and don't read the manga, so for those people, that setup was never paid off, and it's arguably one of the most important things in the series. If you don't know, the ending of the Naruto manga is quite different from the ending of the Naruto anime. Naruto actually becomes the Hokage in the manga. Even though I don't like the way it's done, at least it is done. But in the anime, the ending is Naruto getting married to Hinata, which never happens in the manga, and Naruto never becomes the Hokage. You actually have to watch a sequel to the Naruto series, which is quite bad, in order to see Naruto becoming the Hokage. And actually, you don't even see him becoming the Hokage in Boruto. You have to watch an OVA of Naruto getting one-shotted by Himawari for him becoming the Hokage, and Konohamaru has to be the stand-in for Naruto becoming the Hokage. It's all a mess. It shouldn't have been like that. Well, let's move on to chapter 2 of the Naruto series for another setup that was never paid off. Konohamaru, one of the worst characters in the series by a long shot. Now, when you name the second chapter of your story Enters Konohamaru, you would expect that said character would have this amazing relevance to your story, but he doesn't. Actually, Konohamaru is one of the most useless characters in the Naruto series. He has this one chapter where he gets a little bit of development, and then he doesn't do anything else in the entire series, essentially. In part 1, he barely has any scenes. Most of the Konohamaru scenes you see in part 1 in the anime are not in the manga. They are complete filler meant to just fill up time so that the anime wouldn't catch up to the manga, because they are mostly useless. Seriously, there is a very high chance that when you're watching a Konohamaru scene, even if the episode is canon, that scene is filler. The same thing is true for Naruto Shippuden. Most scenes Konohamaru is in are not canon in the anime, and the scenes he is in are all awful because Konohamaru is only used for very bad comic relief. Every time Konohamaru shows up in Naruto Shippuden, he's used as comic relief using the sexy jutsu, and that's the entire utility of the character. Then of course he has the fight against Pain, which is the only other bit of development he gets other than chapter 2 of the story, and then he vanishes from the story once more. Like seriously, you would expect that the second chapter of the series would be named after a character with relevance, like Sasuke for instance, but no, it was Konohamaru. Pretty weird. Kinda glad he didn't have a lot of importance in the story because I don't like him at all, so whatever. Another forgotten concept is that back in the Chunin exams, when the chakra points were explained with the Byakugan and all that, they talked about how the hyugas can block the chakra networks and your chakra points within your body, but they could also use their gentle fist to boost the flow of chakra and the chakra points themselves. That idea is never brought up again. The hyugas are only treated as these people that can block the chakra points, and let's be real, the hyugas are kind of forgotten in Naruto Shippuden anyway, but this idea of boosting chakra flow is very strange to me because it never comes up again, and it's something interesting that they mention. You could even argue that this may have other applications other than fighting against someone. Maybe you want to boost the chakra network to enhance a powerful jutsu. It could be an interesting way to combining the gentle fist and the abilities of other characters in order to make the hyugas even more of a support class than just a counter to ninjutsu users. But this is never brought up again. Just like the hyugas kind of vanish in the background, so does this very much forgotten plot point. Another character that seemed to have been set up was Dosu. A lot of people complain how Dosu was underutilized in the series, that he should have gotten more development, and a lot of people argue that Dosu should have turned to the good side and joined the Leaf Village after the Chunin exams, having a change of heart in that arc, and that this should have been the progression of the character. I agree that Dosu looks really cool. He was definitely the best out of the sound team in the Chunin exams. He had the best design, the best powers, the coolest personality. He was also more threatening and intimidating than the others. Though I would argue that Zaku probably had a more interesting backstory, which honestly wasn't that interesting anyway, because it's pretty much, oh, I was a guy lost in life and Orochimaru found me and used me as a tool. You can probably assume Dosu's backstory would be similar, but we never really got any in-depth backstory for him. But he was very cool, and he was offed by Gaara unceremoniously, off-screen. Kinda sad for Dosu fans, which thought the character would amount to something. It did seem as though Dosu would be a more relevant character in the story. His fight against Sasuke was very much set up the entire time. He was always like, oh, I have to fight Sasuke. Oh, Sasuke, yeah, Orochimaru put me to fight you. What are we gonna do? He was even trying to kill Gaara so that he could fight Sasuke directly in the tuning exams. Of course, that didn't work, but Dosu was used as a jobber character. He was set up as powerful because he fought against Lee, he fought against Choji and one-shot him, and then he was put up against Gaara, and then Gaara one-shot him, establishing Gaara as this threatening force of nature that's terrifying and it's gonna destroy everything in its way, and Dosu was simply one of those things. Sometimes killing characters in that way, very unceremoniously, is a good thing to keep tension in the story. If everyone is safe, then you don't really feel that invested because, oh, the characters are gonna survive anyway, nothing's gonna happen to them, but if characters die like that, oh, things can get serious. Also, the cast of the Naruto series was so large already that including Dosu in the middle of things wouldn't really make that much sense. What would you even do with a character afterwards if he were to join the Leaf Village? Maybe you could say he could come back to Orochimaru's hideout and still serve Orochimaru there, but I don't see any service for the character in the story in that way either, so it wasn't a bad thing for Kishimoto to kill the character off very early on and not really develop him any further. But how about Shino's character in OG Naruto? He was forgotten, wasn't he? Shino was the silent dark horse of the Konoha 12, with intelligence approaching Shikamaru's, ruthlessness similar to Sasuke when he blew up Zaku's arms clean off and then laid him out on the floor, and he also had abilities as creepy and broken as Gaara's. Those insects were nasty, they could suck chakra, which is something not everyone can do, and Shino was so versatile as a fighter. The in-universe reason for him not going on the Sasuke retrieval mission was due to him being on a mission with his father, a Jonin and a clan leader. If he was able to somewhat keep up with his dad, which is implied at the age of 12 because he was on a mission with him, we know he was supposed to be the elite for his age, yet he was purposely hidden in the background and only showed his abilities when necessary. He was a hyped up character, so what did we get for Shino in Naruto Shippuden? Well, I suppose he was an extremely powerful guy, maybe an Anbu member, something of a Black Ops guy, I don't know. No, we got a mopey teen who, while still powerful, became a vessel for a meta joke that Kishimoto always forgets about Shino. That transformation was somewhat of a letdown, but it's nothing compared to the absolutely atrocious disgrace Boruto did to his character. The loser school teacher that has to teach Boruto and his friends and talks to stuffed animals. He's become a joke character. It's not that he is comic relief even, it's just that the entire character is a joke, and he was set up to be this menace in part 1. Remember his fights against Kankuro and Zaku, they were so strategical and fun to watch. And he barely does anything in Naruto Shippuden at all. He just goes in the mission to retrieve Itachi and somewhat fights against Obito, even though his insects are useless against Obito, but anyway. Now let's talk about a jutsu that was set up as being this very important thing and was never used again. Chiyo's resurrection jutsu, which she first uses on Sakura to heal Sakura from Sasori's wounds, and this wasn't just like a healing ninjutsu, no. When Chiyo used that on Sakura, she was exchanging her life force in order to give Sakura life force and heal her from Sasori's attacks. Of course, then she used the jutsu again on Gaara, this time to literally bring him back from the dead, sacrificing her life in the process. Now this jutsu came pretty much out of nowhere. It was kind of an asshole, but you can kinda wave that off saying, oh, it was a cool theme for the story. The old lady bringing the young generation back, you know, Gaara, the leader of her village. But usually when you do a jutsu as crazy as that in your story, story and it's kinda taken out of nowhere, it's because you're gonna use that jutsu later in a more impactful moment. I always thought Tsunade was going to use that jutsu, but she never does. And then this jutsu is only used once, which is kind of a weird thing. Just think about this jutsu. It can literally bring people back from the dead. It's like the Rinne Tensei. Well, not quite, because you technically still need the corpse of the person, but it's such a broken ability. Why wouldn't a lot of very old and powerful ninjas just learn this ability so that one day, when they know they're too old, they're not gonna live very long anymore, they can bring somebody back from the dead? This jutsu was never really paid off. Now I'm gonna talk about a set of characters that kinda never got a lot of development. The 2nd to the 7th jinchurikis. Of course, Gaara, Bee, and Naruto got a lot of development because they were somewhat of main characters, especially Naruto, who literally is the main character. But the jinchuriki of the 2 tails to the jinchuriki of the 7 tails didn't get this development. Because the Akatsuki was after the jinchurikis, it was assumed that the jinchurikis would eventually get some development. A lot of people complained that this never happened and wanted the jinchurikis to get more of a spotlight. In the manga, we get brief fights with Niyugito, and we don't get much else. Kisame just kinda captures the 4 tails. We don't even see how the 5 tails is captured, the 7 tails, the 6 tails, and all that. The 3 tails is just hanging around there. The jinchuriki was dead long ago, the 4th Mizukage, and we kinda see how that played out with Deidara soloing the 3 tails like it was nothing. But it was kind of understood that because the jinchurikis play this very big role in the series that they would be developed, but no. And yes, I know some of them were developed in filler episodes like Utakata and Fu even, but we don't care about filler episodes. What matters is the manga, and they barely were in the manga. Of course, we got a couple of scenes with them when they were brought back via Eero Tensei, and that scene in the Limbo Realm when Naruto was able to talk to every single jinchuriki and tail beast is a very nice scene, but that's not a lot. I mean, a couple of the jinchurikis only said their names in that scene, that's it. Not a lot of development for those guys, unfortunately. And honestly, I'm not really mad at this thing, because just think about it. If Kishimoto took time to develop every single jinchuriki with the tail beast and all that before the war arc, because the tail beasts were developed way more in the war arc, but if he had developed the jinchurikis too before that, the story could have gotten slow and the pacing could have dragged down. Now, maybe this could have been a good thing if the story was well told, then yeah, sure, but sometimes it's better just to move on. Another concept that was kind of forgotten was just the concept of clans in general. Early on, we got introduced to the Uchiha, the Hyuga, yada yada yada, but only a handful of clans are only explored in the Leaf Village, and yeah, they're all Leaf Village clans. Tell me, do you remember any clans from the Sand Village? I mean, the Sand Clan? The Desert Clan? Cause I'm Gaara from the desert? No, that's not a clan. Do you remember any clans from the Mist Village? The Stone Village? And sure, maybe they are explored a bit in novels and other filler episodes and all that, but still, we never get any major clans outside of the Leaf Village. And they were a very important part of the series. They still are, even in the end. I mean, the Uchiha and the Senju clans are extremely important, but it seems as though those 2 and a couple of others are the only ones that matter for the story. And yes, introducing clans from other major villages would have been tough to write because it's just a lot of stuff, and the series as is has too much on its plate already to develop. So I just assume that the other villages, they all have clans, and we just don't really explore them very much because they're not too important for our main characters. For example, I think Darui probably has a clan. Kurotsuchi and Nonoki, they are probably in a clan, and so on and so forth. Kind of similar to the clans concept here. Another concept that was set up and never really paid off was the concept of the smaller nations around the Naruto world. Not the 5 main villages and nations, but the smaller ones in between them in the map, such as the Waterfall Village, the Grass Village, and the Hot Spring Village. Now, of course, the Rain Village, which is one of those small villages, played a huge part in the series. Arguably, the Rain Village is more important than the other 4 great nations, not including the Land of Fire, of course, but it's a very important part of the lore of Naruto Shippuden especially. But that's just only one village, and we got introduced to several of those in the tuning exams alone. And yet they never play their part in the grand scheme of things, they're just there. Some characters are from those villages like Hidan and Kakuzu, but that's about it. I mean, think about it. The Waterfall village got a tail beast from Hashirama. They got the 7 tails, so there had to be something important about it, right? Alas, we never really get any development for those villages except for the Rain village. Maybe they could have joined in the war arc. Do something with them. That's kind of disappointing. And don't get me started with the Sound village, because nobody even knows what the hell the Sound village is about. Some people think it's just Orochimaru's labs, but he clearly has a lot of shinobis to pull from. We see in the tuning exams that there are platoons of Sound village ninjas, so where the hell is Orochimaru coming up with those? And look at the Naruto map, there's an entire country dedicated to the Sound village and all that. Is there a feudal lord in that country that Orochimaru serves and that Orochimaru's ninjas serve? There are so many unanswered questions about the Sound village, man. And of course, we got one of those very annoying setups that were never paid off. Do you remember in the war arc when Sasuke was going and trying to kill Madara, and Hashirama was pinned down by Madara's Rinnegan rods, and then he says, "Hey Sasuke, come here. I have a jutsu I need to give you." What jutsu did Hashirama give Sasuke? What was it? Nobody knows because it was never shown. Sasuke jumps at Madara. Madara had his back turned to Sasuke, but Madara simply uses limbo, freezes Sasuke in place, and pierces Sasuke with his own sword, skewering him, humiliating him, and all that. That's all fine. I like that scene. That's a great scene. But, you know, Hashirama gave Sasuke a jutsu, whatever that was. The natural course of things would be for Sasuke to use that jutsu against Madara, Hashirama's greatest rival, and a man that's from Sasuke's own clan. A man that's literally Sasuke's previous reincarnation. But no, Sasuke just goes there, dies doing nothing. Now, as I said before, I have absolutely no problems with this scene whatsoever. I like the scene. It's just that if you're not gonna pay Sasuke's and Hashirama's thing off, just don't do it. Don't include that in the story. Or maybe you wouldn't have to pay off so soon, but do it eventually. Maybe when Sasuke is fighting Jubidara. Hell, maybe even when Sasuke is fighting against Kaguya. Or even Naruto. I don't know. Do something about it. It's the first Hokage, the god of shinobi, telling the second most important character of the series, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a jutsu that you're gonna use in a very opportune moment. Come close, listen to me." Now, maybe it wasn't even a jutsu, maybe it was information about how to beat Madara, something, but you had to pay that off. Otherwise, why would you set that up? Now, in my personal ultra mega blaster headcanon, what Hashirama did there was to give Sasuke some of his chakra, even in the Edo Tensei mode. And when Sasuke absorbed the chakra, that facilitated him awakening the Rinnegan. And so when the Sage of Six Paths appeared, he was able to simply implant the Rinnegan on Sasuke, otherwise he wouldn't be able to do so, and Sasuke probably wouldn't have gotten his amp, because you need Senju and Uchiha chakra combined to awaken the Rinnegan. And if Hashirama gave Sasuke his chakra, then this could have been possible. Of course, it would usually take you years, if not decades, to awaken the Rinnegan, even if you have a lot of Senju chakra, but I imagine Hashirama giving Sasuke his chakra wouldn't awaken it immediately, like it really didn't in the story. Sasuke still had his EMS when he went to fight Madara for the first time, but then it made things easier for Hagoromo to implant his Rinnegan onto Sasuke. And I know this theory is very flimsy, but it's literally the best thing I've ever been able to think about whenever this plot point that was never paid off comes up. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think Hashirama gave to Sasuke in that moment? Do you have any better theories? Because I would love to hear it. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Like this video to help me out against the YouTube algorithm, and also watch this other video right here for more amazing Naruto content. Thank you so much for watching.